NBCU Summer Hits 2024, Love Island USA AGT dominate streaming broadcast. Here's something that might surprise you. While everyone's talking about the streaming wars and fragmented audiences, one media giant just proved it's possible to dominate completely opposite ends of the entertainment spectrum simultaneously. NBCUniversal has been absolutely crushing it this summer, and the secret weapon isn't what you'd expect. Instead of chasing the latest trends or throwing massive budgets at prestige dramas, they've doubled down on two unscripted powerhouses that couldn't be more different from each other: Love Island USA and America's Got Talent. But here's where it gets really interesting. Love Island USA's 7th season didn't just perform well, it completely demolished streaming records. During the finale week alone, the reality dating show accumulated a staggering 1.9 billion minutes of viewing time on Peacock, catapulting it to become the week's most watched streaming title across all platforms. Think about that for a moment. In an era where viewers have endless options, people chose to spend nearly 2 billion minutes watching attractive singles navigate romance in a villa. The show's dominance wasn't just a flash in the pan either. For 8 straight weeks throughout the summer, Love Island USA maintained its position as the #1 streaming reality series, generating more online buzz and conversation than any of its competitors. Nielsen's data suggests that the overwhelming majority of this viewing activity centered around the current 7th season, proving that fresh content was driving the engagement rather than nostalgic binge-watching of earlier seasons. Meanwhile, on the traditional broadcast side, America's Got Talent was writing its own success story. The long-running talent competition has been pulling in an impressive average of 5.9 million viewers per episode when measured over a 7-day period, according to Nielsen's comprehensive tracking. This performance has secured AGT's position as the summer's top-rated entertainment series in terms of total viewership. And this is the part most people miss. America's Got Talent is now positioned to achieve something truly remarkable, securing its 20th consecutive year as the #1 broadcast summer alternative series among total viewers. In an industry where shows typically flame out after a few seasons, AGT has maintained its dominance for 2 decades straight. But here's where things get controversial, and frankly, a bit fascinating from a media strategy perspective. These two shows are attracting audiences that are practically from different planets. The co-viewing patterns alone tell a compelling story about modern entertainment consumption. Love Island USA sees 38% of its audience watching together with others. But these co-viewers tend to be younger adults and people in non-married households. Think friends gathering for viewing parties or roommates binge-watching together. America's Got Talent, by contrast, has an even higher co-viewing rate at 48%, but the demographic couldn't be more different. AGT's shared viewing experience predominantly happens among married couples and families with children. The classic gather around the TV family entertainment scenario that many thought was becoming extinct in our personalized streaming age. The audience age gap is absolutely striking. More than half of Love Island USA's Season 7 viewers were under 30 years old, representing exactly the demographic that traditional media companies are desperately trying to capture and retain. Meanwhile, America's Got Talent appeals to a dramatically older audience, with only 6% of viewers falling into that coveted under 30 category. Here's perhaps the most eye-opening statistic. Only 2% of viewers sampled both shows during their current seasons. For context, Nielsen defines sampling as watching at least 6 minutes of an episode. So we're talking about audiences that are almost completely distinct from each other. This isn't just different preferences. It's evidence of entirely separate entertainment ecosystems operating within the same media company. Some industry experts might argue this represents a problematic fragmentation of NBCUniversal's brand identity. After all, Shouldn't a major media company have a more cohesive content strategy? But here's a counterpoint that might ruffle some feathers. Maybe this diversity is actually NBCUniversal's greatest competitive advantage. In an era where most streaming services and networks are desperately chasing the same young, affluent demographics, NBCU has managed to create genuine appointment television for multiple generations simultaneously. While competitors fight over scraps of the 18 to 34 demographic, NBCUniversal is successfully monetizing both the TikTok generation and the traditional TV audience that still represents significant spending power. The success stories aren't ending with these summer runs either. Love Island USA, having concluded its 7th season, is leveraging its growing popularity to launch Beyond the Villa, a spin-off series following Season 6 cast members as they navigate post-show life in Los Angeles. This expansion represents a bet that the Love Island brand has enough momentum to sustain multiple content streams. Meanwhile, America's Got Talent Season 20 is building toward its live show phases. Traditionally, the series' highest-rated episodes that often determine which acts become household names and which fade into obscurity. So here's the question that's worth debating. Is NBCUniversal's approach of simultaneously serving vastly different audiences a stroke of genius? Or does it represent a lack of focused brand identity that could hurt them in the long run? Are they brilliantly maximizing their total addressable audience? Or are they spreading themselves too thin by trying to be everything to everyone? What do you think? In today's hyper-competitive media landscape, is demographic diversity a strength or a weakness? Should media companies double down on specific audience segments, or is there still value in being a true mass-market entertainment provider? The success of these two completely different shows suggests the answer might be more complex than the conventional wisdom suggests. Squid Game 3, Netflix's streaming dominance explained. Explosive viewing figures, unexpected demographic surges, and a few eyebrow-raising surprises. These aren't just your average streaming stats. The battle for your screen time is more intense than ever. Here's what's really shaking up the streaming war. And there are details here you'll want to argue about in the comments. Netflix's highly anticipated 3rd season of Squid Game didn't just return. It steamrolled its way onto the top of the streaming charts for the week ending July 7th, pulling an enormous 2.9 billion minutes watched, according to Nielsen's latest data. That's not just a hit, that's a cultural thunderclap. But here's where it gets controversial. The viewing breakdown reveals a strong 33% share from Hispanic households, and an 8% audience from Asian viewers, tying it with Hulu's The Bear for the highest concentration of Asian viewers among any of the week's top 10. Streaming habits themselves are morphing too. Over the July 4th holiday week, TV viewers increased their streaming time by 8% compared to last year. Yet, ironically, fewer shows actually crossed the 1 billion minutes threshold. This signals an interesting twist. While overall engagement is up, streaming is splintering across more series and films, ramping up rivalry between platforms. Is this more choice or just more noise? Platform by platform, there are some major shakeups in who's drawing the eyeballs. Peacock enjoyed an almost unbelievable 189% surge, thanks mainly to the romantic drama of Love Island USA. The show drew 1.7 billion minutes, dominated by adults ages 18 to 34, a whopping 52%. Amazon Prime Video also chalked up a solid win, with a 29% year-over-year lift in viewership for its big titles. The action comedy Heads of State made a blockbuster splash, 1.1 billion minutes, leading the movie chart and landing at number 5 overall. Interestingly, the majority of this show's audience was adults aged 35 to 64, 58%. And black viewers were a significant part of the group, accounting for nearly a quarter of watch time, 23%. Other notables on Prime Video's hot list: Countdown, 409 million minutes, number 8 on the chart, and We Were Liars, 328 million minutes, number 10. Over on Disney Plus, a 6% bump came largely from kid favorite Bluey, an impressive 849 million minutes, and the Marvel miniseries Ironheart, 536 million minutes, which rolled out its finale trilogy on July 1st. What about old favorites? Netflix's acquired dramas Animal Kingdom, 1.5 billion, and Blind Spot, 1.4 billion, both maintained their heat, taking the number 3 and number 4 overall spots since June. These two have amassed a staggering 14.3 billion minutes combined, proof that binge-worthy library series aren't going out of style. Then there's The Sandman. The initial episodes of the final season grabbed 611 million minutes, snagging the number 1. 6 slot among originals, especially resonating with viewers aged 18 to 49, 57%. Looking for more sparks? Reality dating show Ultimatum Queer Love, 382 million minutes, number 9, had a strong showing with younger adults, 37% aged 18 to 34 and 32% in the 35 to 49 bracket. And for action movie fans, Netflix's The Old Guard 2, a sequel to the 2020 hit, racked up an impressive 964 million minutes, nabbing second place in the movie rankings. The movie race brought in new faces too. HBO Max scored with Sinners, 555 million minutes, number 4 on the movie list, which really grabbed the 18 to 49 crowd, 56%, and drew a notably diverse group, 20% Hispanic, 6% Asian, and a striking 25% black viewers, the level of cross-demographic appeal that isn't as common as you might think. Meanwhile, Hulu dusted off the 1996 sci-fi epic Independence Day for 297 million minutes, number 8, mainly among viewers aged 35 to 64, 55%. And this is the part most people miss. Massive hits are no longer dominated by just one demographic or one age group. The battle for attention is being fought on multiple fronts, by new shows, old favorites, and an increasingly diverse, segmented audience. So what jumps out at you here? Is there too much fragmentation? Or is this golden age level choice? Does Squid Game 3 deserve to be this dominant? Or are other platforms being left in the dust because Netflix just knows how to drive buzz? Maybe it's the changing tastes of younger viewers that will tip the scales in the next round. Voice your take or disagreement below. Is your favorite on the rankings, or are the numbers missing some hidden gems?